So Dana White has announced some massive fights that will be coming up in October, and he cooked. We finally got some serious big events. The UFC 320 pay-per-view in October looks insane. Now, it's the first pay-per-view we're going to get in like 6 weeks because they're not doing a pay-per-view in September, which is saddening, but hopefully they stack some of those fight night cards. You know they're going to France. We have a great main event for that. Let's stack that card. And let's make sure we're stacking Noche at this point. I understand that you're not going to have a pay-per-view, but let's fucking stack it. We have Silva versus Lopez, which is a sick fight. Let's load up the undercard with a Moreno fight, with a whole bunch of other fights. Don't make it just Mexican. You can put other guys on there. But UFC 320 is a sick card. Dana made a great announcement and he finally fucking loaded the cards up. We've been waiting for this. We've had 311, which looked insanely loaded, and then shit happened, like Sarukian not being able to fight, and then you lose the Dariush Moicano fight because Moicano goes to the main event. So you lose like the stacking of that pay-per-view a little bit with such a major, huge like main event that we could have had. You have 314, which was really good, but then again, you lose Pratis versus Jeff Neal. So these big pay-per-views, we've been losing fights, but I have hope in this one. We finally have a two-title fight pay-per-view that we haven't had that in so long. When I say two-title fight, I mean two real title fights, not a Valentina co-main, right? Like, that's not a fucking... Right, with this 311, we had the lightweight and the bantamweight, but it was a short notice lightweight one. This one, 320, man, it's back in Vegas, and we have a sick card. Pereira Ankalaev 2. Now, the first fight was not overly entertaining. It really wasn't. It wasn't entertaining at all. But Ank won it based off rounds 1, 2, and 4? I'm going to say, I think it was 1, 2, and 4, I thought were the rounds Ank won. I gotta say, in this one, I think Ankalaev's going to get it done again. I like Pereira more than I like Ankalaev, but it's just one of these fights where when you're going into a rematch with this, right, this is a rematch, and it's not like there have been fights in between where one of them can be more impressive. It's the guy that's holding the belt and won the first fight of the rematch is usually winning the second one. It's not often, like Gaethje and Poirier, we had years in between those rematches, right? We, you see things like this, and then you do Marab and Sean, right? There was less than a year in between that rematch. 9 months, Sean goes and gets even more dominated. It's just kind of how the sport has really gone. It's the guy gets more dominated in the second one by the same guy that won in the first time. So Chael and Anderson, but there was time in between that. But you get what I mean here. It's just Pereira's getting older, and he fought as good as I mean, like, realistically, he was so gun-shy against Magomed Ankalaev. He was so focused on the takedown defense, and he did a great job in that department. But how am I going to look at this fight and think, yeah, he's going to go 11 for 11 on takedown defense again? You got to imagine that in this fight, he's going to go, all right, different approach. Why we have the takedown defense down. Let's go be more aggressive. Let's use more low kicks. Let's let the hands go a little bit more. And I think that's going to get him caught, possibly knocked out. Because Ankalaev does have power in the hands. He's a great counter striker, but he's also going to have more success in the grappling, I think, in this fight. I think with Pereira being more aggressive, which was what I expect he would be doing, it's going to open him up to more takedowns. His hips are going to get more square, and it's going to open him up to more counters from Ankalaev. And we saw in round 2, Ankalaev hurt Pereira with a counter shot. It's just, it's dangerous, man. This is a dangerous rematch for him. It's good. Like, I'm happy we're getting this. Would I have liked to see Pereira go up to heavyweight? Yes. But you know what? This is a pay-per-view main card, main event, right? It's going to be a big fight, and we got a good fight here. It's a rematch that we knew we were probably going to see. I'm excited for it though. I think this fight will be better. I think there will be more activity. Part of me thinks that Ankalaev's getting a finish in this one, dude. I can see Ankalaev getting a knockout here in his best performance, and then he starts to grow a little bit of stardom and more respect with the UFC fans. So I'm going to pick Ankalaev to win this one. I think he can find a knockout. Sadly, I think that no matter what happens after this fight, Pereira should go up to heavyweight. Goes up to heavyweight, maybe he gets the Gon fight, and we'll talk about Aspinall versus Gon in a second, but maybe he gets the Gon fight after Aspinall flatlines him. And then you go, okay, and I think he beat Cyril Gane. Okay, he beat Cyril Gane. Let's give him a title shot against Aspinall, and that gives Aspinall another contender while he's probably fighting Jalton Almeida or something like that in the meantime. So, Pereira versus Ankalaev 2. It's a good fight, great main event, but it wouldn't be enough to carry a pay-per-view on its own, which is why I'm so happy the UFC put a Merab versus Sandhagen on this as well as a co-main. This is another big fight. It's another fight that we wanted to see. Again, not big enough to sell itself. You don't have an O'Malley on the pay-per-view to like sell the pay-per-view itself. So what do? This is the perfect co-main event type fight for a big pay-per-view that you're looking to put on. This is honestly, this might be one of the more challenging fights Merab has had. In the sense of a matchup, because Corey Sandhagen. Now, I'm going to pick Merab to win because it's really hard to pick against Merab at this point. I consistently do it, and I'm consistently wrong. Picked Umar, picked O'Malley twice. Picked him against Petr Yan. People forget, man. I don't think I had the channel at that time, though, so I don't think you guys... I can't really brag about that because it was just me, myself, and my gambling addiction. But Merab versus Sandhagen is a... It's interesting because when I look at this, it's like Corey Sandhagen's got the next best cardio in the division. 100% does. Can go all 25 minutes, no problem. Goes hard all 25 minutes. He throws a lot of good stuff up the middle, like knees, teeps, uppercuts. Like, he's a very technical, smart striker. And he's very defensively sound in the grappling. We saw it against Umar. Umar never had him in a dominant position grappling. Umar was winning the fight because he was winning it on the feet, and Corey Sandhagen was so focused on winning the outside foot battle. I don't think he's going to have to focus on technicality as much against Merab when it comes to the striking. He's going to be more finding the shots, focusing on the wrestling, and I think that can give him an advantage at moments in this fight. And I think Sandhagen does a good amount of damage when you look at the opponents he faces. Umar didn't have a mark on him, yes, but like Figueiredo was getting his shit rocked. Rob Font, Corey dominated with one arm. TJ Dillashaw, Corey won that fight and beat the piss out of him. Petr Yan even wore some damage when they had fought. So there's a lot of, Chito Vera never wears damage, but Corey Sandhagen absolutely destroyed him, like just masterclassed him that whole fight. So this is going to be a tricky one, I think, for Merab. I'm going to pick Merab to win this one, but this is going to be interesting. I think the cardio is going to be the least heavy factor against someone like Corey Sandhagen specifically. I'm going to say Sandhagen is probably the most well-equipped to deal with that cardio out of anyone in the bantamweight division. I'm excited for this. This is a great co-main. This really is a good co-main. Helps strengthens the card. It's one of those ones that people are going to be like, wow, dude, this is a big one. And if Merab wins this, I don't know what we do next. I don't. If Marcus McGee manages to win this weekend, which I don't think he does, like, you're just going to end up putting Petr Yan in another rematch, and we know how that's gone, right? Like, if Pantoja wins and Merab wins, then you're looking at, okay, the only thing left for Merab is to fight Pantoja coming up. Or Merab has to go up. Which I would love, because that would mean he gets to skip the line, he fights Volk, we don't have to watch Gene Silva flatline Volk. It'd be fantastic. And I think Volk beats Merab, I'm going to say that. But anyway, because Volk's the next guy that can weaponize cardio and pace. And he's faster, and he's bigger. Going to be great defensively wrestling, but regardless, we're not talking about Volk versus Merab. I think Sandhagen's going to be a tricky fight for him, but I do expect Merab to win this one. I think it's just going to be close. I think it's going to be a close 48-47 decision for Merab in this one. So I'm going to pick Merab, but this is a great co-main event. And then in the feature fight, dude, this bangs. First of all, where's Carlos Ulberg? Maybe he's injured. Maybe they're like, dude, we're not giving this guy a push after that snoozer that he lost to Jan Blachowicz. This is a sick fight, though. This is one that we've all wanted to see for a very long time. Number 2 versus number 4 ranked. I don't think that Khalil stands a chance in this one, man. I'm never going to get on here and start praising Khalil Roundtree for being just such an absolute marauder and warrior. No. I'm not a fan of Khalil Roundtree. I think he's overrated as fuck. I think things have worked out crazily in his favor in a sense that I don't know how he got here. Like, the guy lost to Jacoby. I watched it. He also got flatlined by Johnny Walker. Let's not forget that. I think Yuri's going to be so unorthodox for him that he's not going to know how to fight him. Yuri might get kicked in the legs a couple of times, but I think Yuri's going to be able to tag Khalil Roundtree at any point. I really do. I think he's going to be able to absolutely just weird him out, switch stances, move his head, land good shots, land big shots. I don't think Yuri's getting flatlined by Khalil. I don't. I think if you don't have that touch of death like Pereira had, if you can't hit like Pereira can, you're not going to beat Yuri, dude, at this point. I don't think that that's going to be a thing. I think Yuri's very, very good, and he's still improving. His head movement's gotten better, as we saw against Jamal Hill, and he got to take a bunch of time off in that fight. Like, got to take a bunch of time off, healing up, studying, working on other things, yeah, but he's always getting better. And I think Prohaska is going to come into this fight, look really good, and it's a 3-rounder, and I think he's just going to be able to push the pace against Roundtree. And Roundtree might get lulled to sleep a little bit in this one. Not lulled to sleep. He might take a little while to get going by learning how to read and try and figure out Yuri Prohaska, but Yuri's going to change every single round, look different every single round. And I just think this is a stylistic nightmare for Khalil Roundtree. I think that Yuri Prohaska is going to be able to outstrike him. I think Yuri's not afraid to mix in the grappling if he really needs to. And I think the unorthodox strikes are going to be a serious problem here. I think he's going to be able to go to the body, land like one of those jumping uppercuts, flying knees, crazy shit. And Yuri's got crazy pop, crazy power. This is going to be a great fight. This is a awesome feature fight for this card. This is the kind of stuff you need. This you can put on the co-main event of a card and you're like, damn, this is a badass fight. But they put it as a feature fight, which means that this is going to be a stacked card. We're going to get 2 fights underneath it, and it's going to be stacked. I'm hoping we get maybe a Mauricio Rufy open up the card, so it's a really big name, and it's a good spotlight for him against like a Michael Chandler. And then you get someone else in there, some other big name. You get I'm trying to think if there's anyone at like middleweight or welter, like you can get like a really high ranked welterweight in there. We know we're getting Pratis a pay-per-view before this, so you're not getting that. But you can get maybe you get a fucking Colby versus Burns fight on there or something like that. An Unk matchup that you just throw on there because you're like, you know what, we need a little more juice at the press conference. This will be a good one. Maybe you find a way to get like a Brady versus Rachmanov on here or something like that, or a Brady versus Gary. Something crazy. Like you gotta keep stacking these. This is a great fight though. I'm really happy with this card. I think Prohaska wins. I think he's gonna get a knockout. I think he finds a knockout in like round 2. Next fight that we want to talk about, and the last one I'm going to talk about on this card, is the main event for Abu Dhabi, is Cyril Gane versus Tom Aspinall. Cyril Gane's getting his implement title shot glitch. Someone said it. Yep. Type of fighter to get unlimited title shots. Yeah. Cyril Gane has found the title shot glitch. Yep. He has, but realistically, you knew this is the matchup they were going to make. This is the whole reason they robbed Volkov, is so that if Jones eventually retires and we don't get Jones Aspinall, we can get Aspinall Gane as a backup. Aspinall's a bigger name than Volkov is, sadly, even though he's not the better fighter anymore. And it's just a big name to put him against, and it's someone that you can compare Aspinall's resume to now, to like a John Jones and a Francis Ngannou, because if Tom Aspinall goes out there flatline Cyril Gane, it's like, wow, look at that. He did it better than John Jones did. John Jones just took him down and got mount, didn't land any fucking strikes, and ended up getting a guillotine, because we all know Cyril Gane can't wrestle. But I think Aspinall can submit him in this fight after getting a blast double. I think he can flatline KO him with a right hand. Volkov was finding a lot of shots on Cyril Gane. He's become a lot less defensively responsible in his time, because he'd rather film Paw Patrol and play FIFA and, be a French model or some bullshit like that than train in the octagon and consistently fight. I think there's a lot of ring rust that, not even ring rust. Like, we're looking at 10 months since Cyril Gane's fought, but it's been longer for Aspinall, and that's because John Jones, but Aspinall's been training. He's been training. He's been working consistently. And this guy is just working to get better. You see, if you follow him on Instagram, he's training all the time, where Cyril Gane's just not. He's really just not. He's too focused on his lifestyle outside of fighting, which doesn't usually work for these fighters. But I think Aspinall's going to flatline him in round 1. Everything is going to ride on this, bro. Everything is. Time to remind him. You're damn right, Aspinall. Time to remind him. Yeah, I think he's going to flatline Cyril Gane. I just think he's way better. I think he's faster. But this is a test to see, like, how does he do with a little bit more of a crafty, trickier striker rather than a brute guy like a Sergey Pavlovich or, a Alexander Volkov, who's a little bit was a lesser of a fighter than now when Tom Aspinall fought him. You know what I mean? So I think Volkov's improved tremendously, but I think Cyril Gane has regressed a little bit. But you knew this is the fight they were going to make. They robbed Volkov so they could do it. So Excited, yeah, excited for this one. Hopefully they can stack it. They put a big co-main. Like if they can get another title fight as a co-main here. I don't know what you would do for it though, because this would co-main in Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena fight, but that's going to happen in MSG. Joshua Van and Pantoja, I don't think they put it on this card. I think they saved that for the co-main of MSG. Maybe they put Nunes Harrison as the co-main for this. That would actually be pretty good. I think it would make a lot of sense, but we'll see. Kayla Harrison does not cut weight that frequently. Um, she can't physically because she's too big. Um, Trying to think of other fights they can put on there. Maybe they can put a Volk versus Evloev fight on here. That would be sick. Volk versus Evloev. Just drop the fucking Pico fight. I don't care. Just do Evloev versus Volk as the co-main event here, and then have Volk retire into the sunset. That'd be fucking perfect. So I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe. These are some great fucking fights that we got here.